Tennis coaches, do your players look great in practice but fall apart in matches? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you why traditional tennis coaching does not transfer skill in the way we think. Traditional tennis coaching involves lots of repetition, feeding the same ball over and over again with the belief that the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. In a match condition, if you get that shot, you can just repeat it without even thinking about it. Only for when you get into the match conditions, it all falls apart. This is because when you practice a skill in isolation, the transfer of learning is minimal. You get really good at hitting that shot in isolation, but when you introduce more variability, it's a different skill. And you would have felt this firsthand as a coach. How many lessons have you spent 40 to 50 minutes practicing a shot, let's say the forehand, only for when you get into the match conditions at the end, it all falls apart. And that's why players look really good in practice, but don't look like the same player in a match play situation. So how can we get more skill to transfer from the practice court to the match court? The secret lies in what we call representative learning design. In ecological dynamics, we understand that the closer the practice court in terms of context to the match court, the more skill transfers. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't just play a tennis match and hope that the player learns and transfers skill. The biggest challenge with tennis and the root cause of our problem is it's highly dynamic and highly variable. No two shots ever come the same way. No 2 points will ever play out the same way. Now, with representative learning design, what we can do is reduce some of that variability, but ensure that the game still looks like the sport we play. In this clip that I'm about to show you, my player is working on keeping the ball deep. Now, for years, I would just basket feed the player, but as you can see in the clip, I've moved the mini tennis net back further up the court. The player has to keep the ball deep by finding a way of hitting the ball over the net. Because we've increased the space on her side and we've reduced the space on my side, the player has to find the solution, which she is in this clip, of hitting the ball higher. You can also see in the clip that the player is performing what we call repetition without repetition. She is getting the same outcome, the ball over and in and deep, but she's receiving variable tennis balls. No two shots she receives are the same. Therefore, no two shots she hits are the same. She is getting repetition without repetition. This type of representative learning practice will transfer skill more effectively into a match situation. Why? Just look at it. It looks and feels much more like tennis than the basket feeding. So how can you make your practices more representative? Well, there's a couple of things you can manipulate with a constraint-led approach. There's the task, the environments, or the player themselves. In this very simple example, I've just manipulated the task. I've moved the net further back, which in turn has also changed the environment as well. If I want to explore how the player can deal with a ball that's a lot closer to them, well, let's have a look. In this clip, I've actually moved the net closer to the player. Now the player has to adapt with the ball landing quite close to them. They have less time and space to react. Therefore, can they find a way of getting the ball back over the net despite being put under some pressure? Get creative with your practice designs. Don't be restricted to the traditional tennis lines. If you'd like to learn more about how I manipulate my games, check out my From Drills to Skills course. I'll leave a link down below, in which I'll show you how you can change your traditional tennis drills into more skill building drills. If you found value in this video, hit the like button, watch the video on the screen now, and until next time, I'll see you soon.